Out of my peripheral vision, lo and behold, there's the bird. Hey guys, this is Rodney Marcum, staff coordinator with Bass & Bucks in Wabash, Indiana. It's the 2020 spring opener for turkey, and we got it done using the Predator Tactics tripod and R26 Raven crossbow. All right, so last night we're on a scouting mission. I picked up my good buddy Scott Beating from Bearded Hen Turkey Calls and my good buddy Joe Hensler. We're going out and we're looking for some birds.
We started on Thursday night. We were going to go scout the birds in the field and possibly hunt. We get kind of sneaky in there. We can hear a turkey gobbling in the field. We form a plan. We walk around into the wooded area. It's got an open field and woods.
Well, wouldn't you know it, on the way we got cut off by these two hens. They're sitting about 20 yards outside the woods and we're stuck between a rock and a hard place.
As we're walking out, we see two hens up in the woods. They leave, then they come back, and then they proceed to roost right over top of us.
And Scott Beating looks to me and says, worst case scenario just happened. Well, what do? I asked Scott, what do you think we should do? He says, all we can do is walk out and hope two things happen. One, they stay put, or two, they fly away. There's nothing we can do, just go.
Apparently they weren't too concerned about us and they let us walk out of the woods without spooking.
So we head out to the fence line and we start scouting for tomorrow's hunt, and we're able to find some good cover, some good shooting lanes. Matter of fact, we were hunting a field to the west and there were a bunch of mare's tails in the field, so I decided to do the old stop, drop, and roll we learned in elementary school and made some shooting lanes for the next morning. So that's pretty much a wrap. We got several toms roosted to the north of us. We got two hens roosted in the woods to the south of us, and we're sitting somewhere in the middle and looking sweet for the next morning. Okay, so here it is, Friday morning. We got our Mountain Ops Ignite ready to go. Isaac and I are charged up. We're going to meet Scott at the farm. We're gonna go head out to the woods and see if we can get it done. Well, we get up to our set nice and early, and I tell you what, it sounds like a 21 gun salute. We got birds gobbling their heads off and we don't know what to do.
I set up about 25 yards from Rodney and Isaac, and then about 10 minutes in, we start hearing a turkey gobble. And when they started to gobble, I just give them a few hen clucks on the limb.
So here we are, sitting patiently. What do you know? We got a visitor. I got a little possum coming up, and I'm thinking, this guy's gonna sit in my lap. When I look over my shoulder, that possum, he's on us, and he's hot to trot, and he's not happy. Luckily, I was able to remain still. He calmed down and headed out the picture. Well, at that time, we got a white-tailed doe comes in about 70 yards in front of us. Isaac taps me on the shoulder and says, hey, I think she's looking at something. She's got her ears pinned and her head cocked, and she's really focused in on something. So I tell Isaac, I said, well, I bet it's those four birds. They flew down out of the roost about 300 yards in front of us, and I got a funny feeling they're working our way. Like the four horsemen of the apocalypse, I see four heads and they're cresting the hill. They're heading my way and they're coming in fast. I look to Isaac and I hand him a rangefinder and I get settled in. I got my Predator Tactics tripod set nice and steady. I'm anticipating the shot. I got the R26 shouldered and ready, and I got the safety off. These birds are coming and they're closing fast. Next thing you know, they're about 35 yards away. So I'm talking to Isaac. I know these birds are almost in range, and I'm saying, hey, range, range. I can't hear nothing. Next thing you know, I go, Isaac, yardage. I hear him say 60. I go, 60? I shot some archery in my day. I know these birds are a hell of a lot closer than 60. Isaac says, 60? 60? He says, 60. I say, 20? He says, 15. I say, 20? He says, 20. We're on. Game on. We're ready. I got these birds in my sight. My 20 pins dialed in. I got 4 shooters out in front of me, so it doesn't matter which one. I'm taking the first one that gives me a shot. Well, I got Veeding about 35 yards to my left. These birds are just out of sight. He doesn't quite know what's going on. Well, what do you know? He gives off a few good clucks at just the right time. Boom! I lay it to him. Well, it's flop city. This bird's dipping and he's diving. He flies over and his buddies go to take advantage of his wounds. They're pounding on him, beating on him. I got one over there puffing up his chest, showing he's the big dog. And I got one guy kind of standing back looking what's going on. Well, then a bird flies away. The other 3 exit the picture. I don't know what the hell happened. I thought it was a good shot. I'm sure it was a good shot. Well, I looked to Isaac. What happened, man? What do you think? He goes, I don't know. I think you got him good. Well, we do have a camera, folks. So we decided to check out the footage. Right away, instantly. Remember the stop, drop, and roll? Well, apparently I didn't listen very good in elementary school because I missed one of those mare's tails out in front of me. And wouldn't you know it, my bolt or the vane, not sure which one, found its mark. Deflected the arrow just enough. We weren't too sure on the hit. It sounded good, but this thing's blazing so stinking fast, I wasn't able to pick it up in the footage exactly where I hit him. But we do know one thing, we got a hit. So after about 45 minutes of reviewing footage and talking this over with Isaac, I decided I need to go consult the master, Scott Veeding. So I trek about 45 yards down to my left and I explain what happened. Lucky enough for me, he was able to see the whole thing.
2 of the gobblers were kind of chasing each other around, and they worked their way right up to our spot, and Rodney takes the shot. Unfortunately hit some brush that we didn't get cleared out, and the shot was not the perfect shot. The bird flies off. The other turkeys kind of chase it off. It runs up in the corner of the woods.
We need to get out there and we need to do some ethical pursuit. Sure enough, we're out there and we're investigating the territory, see what we can find. Bad news, we got no blood, no feathers, and no crossbow bolt. What do we do? So we start trekking across the field and we notice there's a woods up ahead. Scott taps me on the shoulder and says, Rod, look, there's 3 toms looking at us up on top of the field. Well, we know one thing, there were 4. So Scott gives me the wink and he says, that bird's in that woods. Let's go. Well, all his wise wisdom, he's storytelling us about all these birds over the years who have been shot and buried themselves in these deadfalls and these thickets. So we get a game plan together and we decide to head into the woods. We fan out and we start checking all the deadfalls and all the thickets, and next thing you know, we're on the other side of the woods and there's no bird to be found. So we hook around the outside and we walk the edges and we come back to about where we started. And I tell Scott, I go, well, you know what? We never did check the big thicket to the right when we first came in. And you said they're gonna go to the first cover they can find. Why don't we walk it and be 10 yards apart? Well, we get about 4 steps into this thicket, and like a mighty thunder, this bird comes flying out. And it starts flying off, and Scott Veeding's in fast pursuit. I don't know if you've ever seen a 60-year-old sprint, but this man was like Usain Bolt, heading down the tree line, and he was gone.
We find the bird in a big patch of briars. It flies up, goes to the other side of the woods into a ditch.
So we come out the other side, and I say, Scott, where's the bird? He says, I don't know. We start to scan the field ahead of us, and we notice there's a ditch line with a bunch of overgrowth. Scott looks to me and he says, we gotta check that ditch. I'm sure your bird's in there. Scott goes down, I'm fast behind him. Next thing you know, Scott, there's your bird! I'm hot and ready. He's pointing ahead and I bring it up. Lo and behold, it's a trash bag. Scott starts yelling and laughing. He says, "I swear to God, I thought that was a bird with that little red tab hanging off." Well, he's got my adrenaline pumping, and I don't know whether to be excited, sad, happy, or mad. I just know one thing: I want to find this bird. So I head about 120 yards down the ditch line. I start to hook in. Out of my peripheral vision, lo and behold, there's the bird. Well, I raise my crossbow to try to get a shot, and this little booger jumps right in the ditch. I come over top and there's brush everywhere, but I know there's only one thing to do, and that's let the raven reap. And I let him have it. This bird starts running around in the ditch, and I decided, get down in that ditch, give that bird the people's elbow, and get it done. We made a successful recovery, and I met Isaac and Scott back into the field after I climbed my way out of that ditch. All right, so looking back, this was a super successful hunt. It was an ethical hunt. We got to practice some ethical pursuit. In the end, we were able to successfully recover the bird. We were able to use some teamwork together, some expert calling, and the expert knowledge too really helped. When it comes to hitting an animal and having an unsure hit, you really got to use all the tools necessary to come up with a really good explanation as to what might happen and what to do next. We were able to use current technology to review footage. We're able to use old school technology via Scott Veeding in his old brain. He was able to pull out some past experiences and really kind of shot called play by play how that tracking mission was going to go. And it went very well, and we was able to recover the bird. And at the end of the day, the most important thing is, we keep trying, we exhaust all means necessary, and we stay ethical. That is our duty as hunters. Also, I'd like to touch on the fact that we had some great equipment supplied by Bass & Bucks. We had the Raven R26 crossbow. It's compact, it's versatile, it's super fast. We had the Predator Tactics tripod. It gave us a super solid hold. It's very versatile on the setup. We were hunting with no blind, no decoys. These birds, they were coming in, they were hot, and they were looking. Thanks to some awesome equipment and some good ground cover, we were able to get it done looking into the white of their eyes. For more information on these awesome products, visit us at bassandbucks.com, drop us a line, or stop by the store and check out these great products in person.